Okay, hi guys. I'm a little bit of a mess because I'm still in the process of fixing up my yard and my house and whatnot, so I apologize. But I wanted to share this story with you guys because I felt like it was relevant to manifestation, and I thought you might kind of understand what I was saying by accidental manifestation after the story. So, I've always had poultry. I used to have a farm for a long time actually, and recently our chickens, well, not recently, this was like last winter, our chickens were killed by a dog that happened to get into our yard. We have a lot of holes in our fences, and now that the hurricane came, I have like no fence. So I told the kids I was not going to look for any more chickens, any more poultry of any sort, until we had some sort of enclosure where I could keep them safe so I wasn't devastating children anymore. And I did. I did look for chickens, and I looked for ducks and whatnot, and I really wasn't having a lot of success, and I didn't want to pay like $50 for a freaking chicken or whatever, because like back in the day, you could practically get them for free, if not free. And my chickens actually that got wiped out, I think, were actually free. Go figure. So Max was kind enough to get us an enclosure, and then some woman offered me 2 free ducks. So I took the ducks, and she gave me another enclosure. Well, I knew I didn't need 2 enclosures, so I sold the one Max bought, and we had this one, and again, I continued to, I knew we had to at some point get new chickens for the kids and whatnot, but I wasn't really thinking about it anymore. All I was thinking about is having one enclosure, clearing out my backyard so I can live out. I plan to live out in my backyard. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I sell this enclosure, and oddly enough, somebody stole my 2 ducks today. No word of a lie. So I went back to the drawing board, and I was like, okay, well, I know I can get chickens, overpriced chickens, an hour away or hour and a half away. I know I could probably hit up the feed store and have them order some ducks. I'm like kind of racking my mind about this, but again, I don't have a lot of money to invest in these critters that really are just like creature comfort for us. Like, none of us even eat eggs, to be honest with you. I always end up giving them away. But so I end up looking, and I find a feed store like 10 minutes from my house today, and I was like, wow, that's kind of odd. I've never noticed this feed store before. So I give them a call, and they had chicks. They had a ton of chicks actually, and they were so inexpensive. So I skedaddle down there with the kids and let them pick their little chicks, and we have the new enclosure that locks, and we have these beautiful little chicks. Well, wouldn't you know it, and then I see a post for ducklings as well, and so I skedaddled over there, and I got the kids some new ducklings. Again, we have a lock, and I even put the enclosure like really far over so that if, God forbid, anybody came into the yard, they'd have to, I would see them, they'd have to walk by the windows. And the whole point of this story is that it was something that I knew in the back of my head I was going to have to get done, or I was going to have to do at some point, but I really didn't want to make the drive. I really didn't want to spend the money, that kind of thing. So I was just like kind of like, I'll deal with that shit later. And then today it was necessary to try to find some sort of solution now that my kids were like devastated that their ducks were missing. And it just happened. It just, like, 10 minutes down the street are ducks, 10 minutes down the street are at the feed store, even though I had been looking for ages, So maybe to you this is coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that, the timing was right, and I had kind of like let it out of my mind. I had somehow created it back when, that I wanted them to not be far and not be expensive, and then once it was time, once the timing was correct, or I was on the right frequency, it came in, and it came in exactly the way I needed it to. But I thought that was kind of nice and exciting, and my kids are all out back happy. So that is one of the stories I wanted to share today, and I will be back on shortly to share something else with you.